What began as a Sunni awakening in Al-Anbar province against al-Qaeda has now spread to other parts of Iraq. To encourage local tribesmen to turn against al-Qaeda, the U.S. military is now paying local sheikhs to provide security in their areas. A gunman like this can earn up to $10 a day for his services. The next step is to have young men like this join the Iraqi police. But for that, the U.S. military needs the cooperation of the Shia-dominated government in Baghdad. Well, that was about our reporting from here back in 2007. What's interesting about that, of course, is that after the U.S. left, Nouri al-Maliki stopped paying a lot of those groups, and some of those groups are now involved in the fight yet again against the central government here. And those are some of the groups the U.S. is hoping to kind of reach out to, get them back on board, and that's why they want a leader here, a government here that's willing to reach out to Sunni groups. I want to continue to just talk about the breaking news tonight. That's why Nick Robertson is here, Arwa Damon as well in Erbil. The breaking news tonight, ISIS forces apparently now having occupied an old chemical weapons facility from Saddam's days. Nick Robertson was actually there. We actually have some of the video that you shot. What year was this that you were there?
2002, and it had already been bombed by coalition forces back in 1991, and weapons inspectors, UN weapons inspectors, have been there in the mid-90s. So when I was there, I was writing about these rusting rows of chemical weapons equipment. Again, I was back there with the UN weapons inspectors. It must have been an important site because that was the 7th site that they visited after they arrived. They went to a lot of sites, so it was a key one. This was the birthplace for Saddam Hussein's biological weapons, the heart of his chemical weapons production facility. It was at its sort of maximum production in the 80s when Iraq was at war with Iran, and it had been sort of idled after that. Again, bombed in 91. So when I was there, you have this desert site, sort of 15 square miles, bunkers, right. A semi-secure site. Some places the wire around the outside was torn down.
You raised the question tonight, right before we went on air, which I think is a good one, is if it's ISIS forces are there, if they have some of these former Ba'ath Party members with them, or former Sunni militias or former Saddam forces who know about this facility, does that add a whole wrinkle into this?
You have to factor that in. Part of the strategic planning that I understand for the tribal leaders that I've talked to who are fighting there right now is that they're using the strategic planning of the former Ba'ath Party generals and officers in the army. If they're there right now, you've got to believe there's some part of design in that. Right. What is their plan to use it? For those Ba'ath Party officers from the old Iraqi army, yeah, they will know the layout there. They will know what equipment is there, right. And if some of them, even if they can utilize this.
Do we really have a good sense, or does the United States at this point have good intelligence on how many other groups are now fighting with ISIS forces? How many other Sunni groups or Sunni awakening groups or Ba'ath Party groups are fighting?
In terms of an exact number at this stage, Anderson, no, it's still a very murky picture. And in speaking to people who are connected to these various other Sunni fighting forces, you know, they'll throw a couple of familiar names out there, the Naqshbandis, the former Baathists, various other Sunni insurgent groups that were quite prominent during the U.S. occupation of Iraq. But at this stage, the situation is so polarized that even if some of these former Sunni groups are not directly involved in the fight, they are at the very least allowing it to happen. The Sunnis who do not want to see an organization like ISIS take over, who do not want to see the creation of an Islamic caliphate at this stage, feel as if they have no other choice but to make their bed with the devil, of course, being ISIS. But even if amongst their ranks there are those who disagree with that perspective, no one at this stage is feeling as if they have the clout or the capacity to even begin to stand up to ISIS and try to even bring about a stop to what is happening. One individual who we've been speaking to, who's fairly close to the other Sunni insurgent groups, was saying that, look, we can't fight on two fronts. We can't fight the Shia-dominated government in Baghdad and ISIS at the same time.
Arwa Damon, thank you so much. Stay safe. And Nick Robertson as well. Appreciate your help.